my gosh, I have been through it all today, but I'm here. So let's get it going. All right, everybody, welcome to episode 13 of the GBA podcast. This is the place where guilty by association meets gritty, blissful ambiguity. And I am your host, Nesrain. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure to follow, subscribe, like, do all the social media stuff that supports people. And with that, I want to just dive right in. And I want to actually shout out everybody on social media who's very active at the moment, raising awareness, showing vulnerability, showing empathy, being outspoken, saying what's real from what's not real, being, educating people. I think it's amazing, and y'all doing a great job. And people who are still not willing to stop, although their content gets deleted. And I just want to say, don't get frustrated with these platforms, because at the end of the day, the platforms get to decide whatever content they want to keep on. And y'all still talking about freedom of speech, yo. That era is long gone, if it even existed. So, and with that said, I also want to say to all these people, who are actually pro-Palestinian and who go out there, laughing at, this whole situation and say, good, go get him. I get it. I really get the frustration, because that's what the other side do. But didn't Michelle Obama say, when they go low, we go high? And I know you cannot always go high when they go low. Sometimes you feel to be like right there with them. And I just feel like it's not worth it. It's not who we are as Muslim people, and it's not who we should be as humans on a whole. We should never celebrate, even in this situation. You celebrate victory, but you don't celebrate people being unalived and all of that. And with that, I also want to answer the mainstream media's favorite question this week. Y'all just all a bunch of monoliths for some reason. And will you condemn? Yes, we do condemn. Can we please move past this before you get a heart attack? Yeah, because your heart rate is going up, because you need this question answered very, very, very urgently, how it seems. And every media outlet needs this. Will you condemn? Seriously? Is that what they gave y'all? Is that what they came up with? I'm really saddened by all of this, because as a child, I always wanted to become a journalist, because I found journalism very interesting. Investigating stories, investigating people, educating people, informing people about what's going on, about the truth, about anything. It doesn't have to be these kind of tragedies, these kind of situations, but just the fact that we want to be, outspoken. We want to find out things. We want to basically, alert people to things. And I feel like this is completely gone. All we have is fake news, cancel culture. You have like a lot of people like who are facing all of these charges, all of these allegations, like Russell Brand, like Andrew Tate, whatever. These people, compared to what's been done now with all the war crimes, like having people, cut off power, cut off fuel, cut water, depriving people of food, having people starving, and making people evacuate from one point to another in a particular amount of time, which is very impossible. And yet, we're still condoning it. Yes, we're still allowing it. And then we have all of this Zoella, aka Gohella, Braverman, speaking and saying all these wild things. We have this Nikki whatever girl, go get them finished. Where is all of this hatred coming from? And yes, I do condemn violence, and yes, I do condemn death, I do condemn terrorist attack, but it's also terrorism to not allow people to eat, to wash, to drink, to sleep, to have peace, to not be scared. It's crazy. The things that these people are enduring right now, the things that these people are seeing, hearing, feeling, they will never be able to unhear this, unfeel this, unsee this. But yet we don't care, right? Because other things are more important. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. And I want to stay actually right on topic, kind of. I want to say to all of these people, yeah, expecting celebrities, public figures to speak up and say something. Well, here it is. When they do say something and it's not to your liking, you get mad. So, do you want them to speak up or you don't want them to speak up? Why is it that when somebody speaks up, then you know what it is. You know what it is. You know what side they're on. You know what they're about. Then you just unfollow. You just disconnect completely from them, even though it's your favorite artist. You've been streaming their music, or your favorite influencer. You've been buying their products. You got to know what's best for you. Same like they gotta know what's best for them. And being a celebrity, that most of the time there's a lot of money behind them. There is a lot of money to be made, and there's a lot of money to be got. And there's investments that happen where people invested in these people, whether it's record labels, whether it's managements, whether it's sports teams. I don't know, whoever. There is people who invested a lot of money and they need a return of their investment. And a lot of the times they would want you to stay on brand. They would want you to stay that product. It's kind of like dehumanizing how I say it, but this is the truth. You are a product. When you're like an artist, an influencer, somebody that's making someone money, you are a product. And then you need to act like a product, like a human product in a way. You cannot just say whatever you want and whenever you want, because that means that people could possibly lose a lot of money, and we need this machine to keep going, and we need to make more money and more money and more money. And for that, you just need not to speak up. I mean, I get it. These people have big platforms, big communities, big, huge influence on a lot of their followers, especially if they're young, and we need to be very careful. But these artists, I don't think any of these people chose to be a role model, chose to be someone to look up to for anything but their craft, whatever it may be. We as consumers, we just put these people on such a high pedestal. We just put them in this position of, oh, your role model, people look up to you. Yeah, that's true. But I'm sick and tired of people having, you cannot do this and you cannot do that because the little kids are watching. Yes, but as a parent or a family member, it's your job to make sure as good as possible. It's not obviously 100% possible. Your kid is out there, it goes to school, it has friends, it's out there, that. But you have to make sure what your kid is consuming at the end of the day. So even if Vlad called out, like at the moment, at the current situation that we got going on, he called out Drake and Khaled for obvious reasons. These two didn't say anything, but we don't know what these people be doing in the background. They could be possibly donating, finding ways to help, or whatever it may be. But I just feel like just because you're not vocal about something doesn't mean that you're inactive. Because I have that. A lot of the times I don't even speak on things because I know myself. I will get way too passionate and too emotional. And I don't know if I necessarily always want it out there like that. I recorded tons of content that I deleted. I had another YouTube account that I deleted. And because I feel like I am somebody, it's either I'm extremely vocal about something and extremely direct and out there, or I don't. I find it very, very hard to kind of like mute what I really want to say. That's why I struggle a lot. Or sometimes I would just start talking and then I just kind of like, stop. Is because I have to think about, not just me, how I'm perceived, but I also have family members. I also have affiliates. I also have people that I work with, people I collaborate with, people I'm in business with, and I always have to make sure that I don't offend anyone. And it's not easy when we have a situation like this where we all are touched and we all are angry about it or passionate about it. But you know what? Let's pray for peace. And this situation really gets to me more than I want to show. And even if it's wrong for some people because they feel we all should be vocal no matter who, I'm stuck here. I'm really stuck, and I don't have that so often where I'm totally stuck. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move past this, and I just want to say, stop expecting celebrities, because you have done, what's her name, Kylie Jenner post, and then she takes it down because now she upset a lot of her followers. Allegedly she lost 1 million followers from her 400 or 500 million that she has on Instagram. I don't know how many of them are real, how many of them are bots. I don't know if, like, these millions that the million followers she lost, maybe there was like a 50,000 people who buy her product all the time, so she kind of like upset this particular side, but now had she taken the other side, other people would get upset. And this is the thing, like, it doesn't matter what they do, it's never gonna work. It's never gonna work 100%. And then you have, and I feel like if you post something, stand by it. The only reason why you get to delete it is when you educated yourself and you realize that you was talking the biggest BS ever. And then when you do that, when you do educate yourself and you feel like, oh my gosh, I was wrong, why did I post this, you talk about it. You'll be open about it. You'll be like, hey, I posted this, I was unaware, it was yada yada yada, like. But people don't want to be honest. People don't want to be even honest to themselves, let alone be honest to the world. And this is a thing that I always say. If you feel like you gotta lie to the world, at least be honest to yourself. And I have I don't know, I have no idea what's happening and what's going on, apart from the fact that y'all just need to chill and not to put all of these demands and hopes on your favorite celebrity to say the thing that you want to hear, because that is not always going to happen. You always be disappointed. And stop, worshiping these people, so much so that you feel it's important. We don't know what these people be doing in the background. Maybe they're doing something, maybe they're doing nothing. A lot of people are not educated enough to speak on this. Yeah, go and get educated. That's what we all do when there is injustice going on in the world. I always educate myself about other cultures, about other people, what they experience, what's been done to them, what's not been done for them. And I find it sad when other people don't want to do that for others, but yet you expect compassion when your people go through something, And I'm very sure that being far removed, even, I don't know how sometimes these celebrities, have their priorities, but priority number one is always stay on brand, your product, make money, and that's their interest as well. Because a lot of people spoke up about injustices and what happened. They've been totally canceled, and they couldn't make any money anymore. So yeah, what am I saying? I should have got myself something to drink. Hey, but yeah, yes, and we're actually staying right on. But I feel like this whole episode is like celebrity, but I didn't do this on purpose. It just literally just happened. So my next, I need to talk about this. I didn't really want to, but I was like, nah, man, this is too crazy. So Jada Pinkett decided to share with the world something that a lot of us already knew from years and years ago. She is not coupled up with Will like that anymore. They are married on paper, they live on the same property, but they're not a couple. So they're doing their own thing. She says since 2016. I actually been hearing the story from way before. And I know that a lot of people had Jada and Will so high up there. They were like relationship goals. I don't know where y'all see that, because first of all, we do know she definitely was very open about it. Jada said that she didn't want to get married to Will. She was crying and she only married him because her mom was pushing her. I think she was pregnant or something. I don't really remember. But this was already in 1997. Yeah, that's like 26 years ago. Okay, it's like 26 years ago. And she didn't want to get married to him. She still did it. And then when she had her 40th birthday, Will had produced a documentary for her, which she didn't like at all. She was quite upset about it. I don't know why, to be honest, but she thought she didn't like it. She didn't really appreciate his efforts. And for the life of me, I don't know why a man like Will Smith would stay in a marriage like this. Clearly, the woman does not want you like the way you should be wanted. So I don't understand why you would maintain such a situation. That's why when I think about it, like Will Smith has this older son, and he will always was like, nah, bro, out of this, like, y'all can do the whole limelight thing. I'm out. Cause he probably know this shit is this fake, and I'm not with that. I don't feel like faking it for the camera, and I just don't understand it because apart from Jada being married to Will, let's say she was single, but for fuck's sake, like seriously, you're gonna have an entanglement with your son's friend? I mean, it's not about like dating a younger man. Like I would never. I mean, I'm not. Maybe when I'm older, I'll think differently. I hope not. But I would never have an entanglement with a 20 years younger guy. It's just, what is it? Did you need to prove to yourself that you still got it, that you're still attracted? What is it? And then, like he was obviously in a very vulnerable situation. You was there, and I guess, like, to him it was great, I guess. Yeah, I get it. But wouldn't that be the moment, the perfect moment to say, hey, you know what, guys? We're actually not a couple anymore. We live together, yeah, we keeping this marriage alive for whatever reason, but we're not a couple anymore. Like anybody can do whatever they want. Like, instead of saying, oh, when that entanglement happened, we had like a break of a few months. Why maintain it when come out now with your book? And then we have the whole Oscar debacle, and clearly it was not cool. I don't think it was appropriate. Will Smith behavior was appropriate. But I also say, let's cut him some slack, let's give him some grace. We don't know what triggered him. We don't know what demons he was fighting at that time. He knows that his behavior was not okay. He knows that. But sometimes, and we all been in that situation, we just wild out, and then we realize in the midst of it or right after, shit. But then it's already too late. What can you do? What can you do? So all of this for this woman who never wanted you in the first place. She's still obsessing over Pac. I don't know, she's just cringe. She's just literally cringe. I don't know. And yeah, I get it when you're like totally, in a bubble and you don't realize that reality is not what you think it is. You need to get it. You need to file for divorce, and you need to figure out who you are without this whole messy, weird situation. And then you need to find somebody who wants you for who you are, and who really want you, and not just like make do with you, or just there because of whatever. I don't know what their reason is. I have no idea. Like, what could it be why they keeping this marriage going? Like, I know that she said, oh, we will never split up, till we die, whatever. Okay, but why? What does it do for y'all? I mean, the kids are older now. They get it. The kids are weird as well. Okay, I find them also extremely weird. And I watched a few episodes of this Red Table Business, especially the episode that Will was on. But because I thought it was an interesting concept. You have the grandmother, the mother, and the daughter, like 3 generations discussing. But no. No. I feel like, and like but he allowed it. Like, I want to say how the way that she treated it, but he allowed it. He continuously allowed it. So he needs to be held accountable for that. But he doesn't need to be held accountable. That's bull. But he should hold himself accountable. And he should figure life out. Like, seriously. Okay. Yep. Yeah. My little card fell. My little SD card. Before I completely lose it, I had to pick it up. So moving right on. Oh. Moving right on to moving right on to what? Oh yeah, we're still staying on in celebrity. So again, I've question. At what point, and where was I when it changed? Is it not okay anymore for media outlets such as bloggers, radio, magazine, TV, podcast to critique music anymore? I thought this is kind of like what the job of a music podcast, music of radio, of a music blogger, whatever you want to call it, like a music journalist, whatever this is. I thought that was the whole point of their job was to critique music. So it just really baffles me how what a sensitive society we became, soft in the wrong places, like seriously. So Drake is gonna come for Joe Budden because he said no, this ain't it for me, this album ain't it, it's rushed. Yeah, honestly, when I heard the album title for my dog for the dogs, I also expected some rapping. I expected some fire, some energy. I mean, and then when I heard it was all R&B, I don't even bother listening to the album. And I need also people like Drake, who is one of the biggest artists in the world. The biggest artists in the world also need to understand that people not always going to react how you want it to whatever that is that you put out to your product. And also, I want to say, stop thinking, like, y'all need to humble yourselves a little bit. Stop thinking that you are for everybody. You are not. You are not. Okay, I don't particularly care much about Drake. He got some cool songs, and I prefer his rapping to his singing. Some of the singing songs are cool as well, but still, not everybody likes Drake. Matter of fact, a lot of people that I know do not like Drake. Beyonce is one of the biggest artists in the world. A lot of people do not like Beyonce. Taylor Swift is one of the biggest artists, especially right now. She's all over the place. Like, we can go a day without hearing the name Taylor Swift at the moment. I'm not a fan. I'm not impressed at all. Never have been, never will be. This girl ain't for me. Her music ain't for me. I'm not saying she's a bad person. I don't know her from nowhere. That's why, like, why take it personal when somebody like Charlemagne or Joe Budden say, hey, that's not it. Unless you're all using this for promo, but it's a lot of pettiness that comes with it. You should call yourself Champagne Patty and not Champagne Daddy, to be honest, because honestly, you're gonna write whole essays and you're gonna say, oh yeah, that's why you never made it, because you was a shit artist, and you say doing a podcast. Honestly, whether you like Joe Budden or not, he's not a shit artist. He's a great lyricist, and he was very good at what he was doing. There's other reasons why people don't make it, and Drake, you should actually know it. There is a lot of suck-ass people out there with no talent who are huge, and there's actually no reason for them to be huge, except their personality or whatever, if they have one. Because a lot of them don't even have one. So to take offense to it and then act like a little crybaby and make this whole collage of pictures for Charlemagne, and oh gosh, who got time? How do you even have time for it? You're the biggest artist, one of the biggest artists in the world right now. How you have time for it? And I also want to say there is a peak. Every career has a peak, and when that peak is reached, usually things, careers go down a little. That's what I always say. You always should stop when you're at your best, at your peak, and that's why I don't know, like even go get some lessons from 50 Cent. I mean, he had an album called Before I Self Destruct, because I rather self destruct before labels do that. So, then your dad is getting involved. I get it. I don't think that Drake ran to his dad and was like, Daddy, Charlamagne said this, or Joe Budden said that. I think he's a grown-ass man and he has an opinion of his own, but this is really embarrassing. This is so not manly. I don't know what to say. I really don't know what to say. That's why I say the level of softness that we reach these days, bruh. And then you wonder why women are more masculine. Well. So Champagne Patty, go find yourself a hobby if you still, amongst all of the obligations and that you have. Go find yourself a hobby if you have enough time to put together collages and write essays about people not feeling your album. It's actually crazy. And I get it. Like Erica Badu said it. I'm an artist. I'm sensitive about my art, my craft, whatever. I get that. But still, you need to allow people the space to have their own opinion. Since when did we become bullies because people are outspoken? And that's what I'm saying. Like, y'all all talk about freedom of speech, but we don't even have freedom of speech on this because people take it personal. People start being offensive. And maybe he's just like laughing and thinking, you know what, this is great promo for me. I'm just gonna like feed into it. And then his dad gets involved. It's great promo because we're all talking about it. I'm sitting here talking about it. We all are, you know. But I still wouldn't say that because he's not the first to complain about feeling away because of their album critique. But I feel like y'all need to get over yourselves and humble yourself a little bit. You're the biggest artist in the world, but as you know, things can be great today, you know, and they could be nothing tomorrow. They could be all in shambles. So I feel like humbling yourself is never wrong, especially in times that we live in right now. Last but not least, I want to talk about something that actually took place a few weeks ago. And everybody who knows me knows I love myself some Ebony K. Williams. And I think she's great. I think she's amazing. I love what she does. And she started a conversation that kind of like went viral. A lot of women feel triggered and took offense to it. And I know she was primarily talking to black women, but I just felt to insert myself in this conversation a little bit differently for little bit of a different reason because I grew up in Europe, so I'm always very inquisitive and interested about other people, the places they're from, their traditions, their cultures, because I grew up with people from many different places, and we do learn about each other's cultures, each other's traditions. We do learn, and it's always amazing to see the similarities because we do have more similarities than we have things that are different, and oh my gosh, sorry. And I'm always fascinated. I like when I started traveling, seeing all these different places, how people are. It's mind blowing. It's eye opening. It helps you grow. It helps you open up more. It helps you to learn more. And not be self absorbed. And things gotta go the way that they're going in your country and how you are used to them and how you know them. And I feel like this is very important. And a lot of people don't care enough to learn about other cultures, although they might have opportunities. I just always find it a little bit sad. So I am as I said, this conversation was primarily for black women. Moroccan, I'm melanin deprived, but we do have a lot in common. But in this particular case, there are things a little bit different. So in 99% of Muslim households, that's how you grow up. Whether you're not African, whether you're Middle Eastern, whether you're Southern European, like Bosnian, Albanian, whether you're Asian, like we learn. Okay, so you go to school, you get your education, you pursue your career, whatever, but you still get married and you build a family. And this is how we grow up. But there's three types of women, kind of like three and a half, four types of women who deal with this particular thing in a very different way. You have the girls that grow up and get married, build a family, and they live happily ever after because they found their quote unquote soulmate. But then you also have women, if it works, it works. If it doesn't work, they just get a divorce, move on, get another husband, or just like stay on their own. But then you also have the women that get married because they're told this. That's what they're taught. That's what they were programmed to do, although they not want to do this, but they might be like too scared to kind of like protest or not do it. So they do just get married, although they say, if it was up to me, I would wait another 10 years, 4 years, 5 years, 10 years, whatever. But yeah, this is what kind of like tradition is requiring. Some of them even get fake married, where they stay with the guy for a year or two, and then they file for divorce or split up, and then go about their business. And then they're already out of their parents' house, so they live in their own house now, so they practically just live their life how they want. And then you have the next type of women who completely rebel, and they run off from home very early because they want to more live that Western life. Because when you are like the person who you are at home as a foreigner on a whole, but especially also like coming from a non-Western society and non-Western religion, your personality at home and outside is very different. Outside, you're trying to keep up with your Western friends, with the Western world and Western trends, and you just want to be out. You just want to be one of many and try to blend in, because you're already kind of like looked at as a foreign person. You're also kind of like get all of these condescending comments when you are asked about something about your culture or about what we do, and then you get like this condescending comments like, I see, yeah, that's weird, okay, yeah, I don't know, you know. This is, it's very condescending and kind of like makes you feel away. When I was younger, I never said at school that I pray because I didn't want to get more questions and more condescending comments. I barely shared anything about how I was practicing my faith, and I feel like also this is very personal. I don't need to share it, but I could possibly share it. Like, for example, when someone would call me and I wouldn't answer, and they would call, like back then we still had house phones, I guess, in the 90s, you know, and the early 2000s, that's when the mobile phones then were a thing. When I had my first mobile phone, I guess I was like 16, 17, something like that. And when people called me, I never said, oh, sorry, I couldn't answer, I was praying. I would say, oh, sorry, I was doing something, you know? And because I didn't want to hear nothing, I didn't want to know nothing, I didn't want to justify or explain myself, you know? It's very crazy. And so these girls even have it more extreme because they want to wear what they want to wear. They don't want to have any type of rules. They just want to be out there, or and live how they feel like they wanted to live. They wanted to get away from the traditions, from their culture, from everything. And a lot of the times these girls eventually do return to their families, but not all of them, not all of them, but I know definitely many times they return, they make up, they have a great relationship, end of story. And then there is another group of women, that's the group that I'm in. We're still rebelling, but we're being a little bit more subtle about it, in the sense of like we're not so extreme, like running off. We're just being vocal about it. No, I'm done with school and I'm gonna pursue my career, and I'm just not gonna do it. And then you just like endure this whole. When are you getting married? Also, but you need to think about, like, the older you get. Like, my parents never pressured me, but I still get it from them. Like, are you not trying to get married like now? Like, it's almost too late, you know. And I always say to my mom, I said, let me tell you something. I know it's too late in our tradition, almost too late or whatever, but you know, like, there's people who get married. Like, there was a woman, she got married when she was 80, and that was in the tradition. Everybody was like, oh, I don't know. And I'm like, why y'all like hating? This woman wants to, you know, have some fun before she leaves this planet. Let her, you know? So I just feel like parents don't always have the understanding. But for me, I grew up in this independent woman, Destiny's Child era, where I was like, I'm strong, I can do for myself, I don't need nobody, I got this, you know. I was kind of like I was heavily like that. Like, I was going down that road, being this person that wants to, you know, never, ever, 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 ever having to depend on anyone, you know. And I wanted to achieve certain things before I even thought about marriage or building a family. Deep down inside, I wasn't opposed to it, but outside, I was more like, no, I'm not gonna do it. I need to do this first. I was kind of like driving myself more and more direction of career success, you know, get things done. And when I accomplished my goals, I wanted more, because now other doors open, other opportunities come up, you know, other goals are now possible. And that's, I kept going, and then you lose track, and then you're in your 30s and you're like, what was I doing the past decade? And then like, snap, like, time flew by. And I just don't know what I've done with time, you know. And so since I was in the entertainment industry super early, like, I had an ex say to me one time, he said, you are not, you're fake, you're not even who you really are, like, you're pretending to be somebody that you're not. And I didn't get that. I actually took it very bad when he told me that. I took offense to it, and I got it so much later in life. Like, I think I got it like 3 years later, and only because I was going through a very life-changing event. And then it perfectly made sense to me. I was like, I'm really not who I am. Like, I was really pretending. I was in this bubble, and I thought, this is what I want, this is what I need to do, but it wasn't actually like that. it wasn't actually like that. Once life humbles you in a very, very serious way, you start rethinking your actions, you start rethinking your goals, you start rethinking if you know what you want, and all of that. And in relationships, primarily we argued about building a family, because I was like, I'm not doing this. I need to achieve this. I need to get this done. I need to accomplish this and that and this and this and this and this. And once this is accomplished, then we can go with it. But obviously this is all nonsense. And that's why when Ebony K. Williams said to primarily black women, I'm gonna say it again, she said that they need to start looking in college for husband material. A lot of people was like, what? Why? Like they felt triggered. They took offense to it. I think she's absolutely right, because in college you're still young. You can find a guy who seems to have the right intentions, because life can change. You can always become a bum and a scumbag. But in college, that gives you the opportunity to find a guy where you feel like, okay, he seems to be going down the right road, and you grow together, you build together, you evolve together, and I feel like this is what she was talking about. And people taking offense to it is one thing, but also but she continued to say, like, the older you get, the smaller the pool of decent men to pick from. And honestly, I couldn't have said it any better, because this is true. I always also say, like, because the older we get, the more experienced we become. And experience make you have usually more boundaries and more expectations, because now you know what you definitely don't want, and you know what you're definitely expecting, and what needs to be there in order for you to feel comfortable to be in a relationship with this person. And my mom she always told me, the longer you wait and the longer you're on your own, the more problems you're going to have, being with somebody, living with somebody, because you adapted to this lifestyle of, I do for my own, on my own. So it's just myself. And this is actually true, because I hear a lot of people saying that. Yeah, I wouldn't mind being with someone. And this is men and women who say that to me. But, if that happens, I love my life as it is. I am not changing, and this person has to adapt to my situation. Well, this obviously doesn't exist. Then you need to find somebody from some backwards village in some country, and they're going to marry you to have a better life, so that they have they have their papers, and you can import them into your country wherever you're based, and you can just, like, yeah, they can adapt. They just basically are just there to cater for you. Then you need to do that. But everything else is always based on compromise. And sometimes one has to compromise a little bit more, and the other time the other person has to compromise a little bit more. But I'm so far gone off this whole independent women shit, because it's all BS. It's all just like unnecessarily, I don't know, it's just crazy. I feel like women should be strong. I feel like women should be able to do for themselves, but women should not be living this whole thing of, like, I don't need nobody, I can do this. And like, it's not necessary. If you have to do for yourself, you should be able to do it. But this shouldn't be like the be all and end all. And I was talking to a friend of mine that I know also through the industry, and I know him when I was a teenager, so we kind of like friends now for, I believe, 22 years. And he always used to tell me, this is bullshit. One day you're going to grow up and realize this is all dumb. And over the years, when I changed my whole thing, because I also saw, obviously, feminism is something completely different from what I thought it was, especially these days. I don't want no part of it. I never considered myself to be a feminist in the first place. I never considered myself to be a feminist. I think it's very dangerous to be under these umbrellas sometimes, because they might not always represent what you feel that particular something is. Like, feminism for me is something different than it is, I guess, for most of these people nowadays, because I feel like y'all just want women to be free and express themselves. By express themselves how? Just because I'm almost naked and I got my boobs out, ass out, that doesn't make me, I don't feel liberated. If somebody feels liberated now that they can show their whole body, kudos, go for it if that's what you feel you need. But to me, that's not feminism. And then how at the same time are we not allowing people the space to cover up, wear a scarf and cover their hair because no, they don't want to do this, this is not how they want to live. Who told you that? Who told you that? What gives you the right to know, or to think that you know what these people want or don't want? So, it's very, very backwards. And I always, when I was younger, I made it a point that I wanted to learn from other people's mistake to save myself some time and some bad energy. I thought it was a great shortcut. And I was really shook by women older than me, girls older than me around me, like family members or friends of, the children of my parents' friends or others, just like neighbors, whoever, when they got divorced, and then a second husband, a third husband, I'm like, oh my gosh, there's no way. I don't want to end up like this. I don't know, So it kind of like scared me off completely. And then another story that really just stuck with me till today is when I think it was like 15, 16. I was coming from school. I was with a friend, and there was this older lady. She was totally lost. She was covered. So we kind of like asked her, "Hey, can we help you?" And she happened to be Moroccan, and she needed help. She needed direction. She wanted to go home. And when we asked her about her address, she couldn't even tell us her address because she said, she pulled a piece of paper, a folded piece of paper out of her wallet, and on that paper her address was written. And so we kind of like helped her, but I asked her, why do you not memorize your address? Because you could lose this paper or somebody could steal your wallet. What are you going to do then? And then she goes, oh, this is actually my first time out on my own. I went to the Moroccan consulate because of paperwork. And she goes, like, my husband, he divorced me, and he was always taking care of everything, like of the finances, of paperwork. And she goes, I've never been to school. I'm like, yeah, my mom never been to school. I know that because when my mom's dad, he died very early. My mom had two brothers. So the family thought is obviously, like, the better decision is to send the boys to school because they're going to be men. They're going to be out there working, marrying a woman and taking care of her, being a caretaker provider. So they need to have a good opportunities to have a good job. When my mom is going to be married off at some point as a girl, and she doesn't really need necessarily to go to school because she's going to be married off and the man will take care of her. And my mom is still very grudgeful to this day about it. She's very, very hurt that she missed out on education and all of these things. And education in life later is not the easiest thing to do. So now this woman, the fact that she couldn't do for herself and she was so scared and so vulnerable, she didn't have no kids, she didn't have no friends because it still happens in older generations, like really older generations, where the husband does not allow the wife to go out, which is absolutely crazy. It still happens in young marriages, I guess, maybe as well, but not so much, I would say, because nobody want that marriage, and most people probably not gonna put up with it. Not people, especially not if you live in the Western world. And so this story really hit me hard because I felt for her. I truly felt for her. And I always, when I think about her, speak about her, like now, I wonder what happened to me. She was elderly back then. She was, I want to say 60 maybe, if not like over 60. And she would be like in her 80s if she's still alive, or she passed. I have no idea. Obviously, I don't even know her name. But that really scared me as well, where I was like, I never want to be dependent on anyone. I never want to be in this situation where I couldn't do for myself. And I feel like this is something that really hit home back then. And I feel like this is something that kind of like, I don't know the right word, but it did something with me, even subconsciously. I guess maybe this kind of like put up like a block. But Yeah, so I do agree with Ebony 100%. The older you get, the smaller the pool of decent men to choose from. And I get it if you're like 30 and you feel, oh, she talking about I still got time and stuff. Like people feel triggered. People feel like I don't like it. I have now women who are 45, 50, 55 who say, you're too fussy, you're too picky. Oh my gosh, you need to stop this. You're going to end up like me. You're going to end up without somebody. You're going to be lonely if you continue like this. And I don't want to hear it. Matter of fact, I hate hearing it because I feel like it's putting pressure on me. Like, what is it? Like, what am I supposed to do? Go out right now and find this person right now? I don't want to right now. If it happens, that's great. But I'm not like, what is it? Do you want me to have like a sign here and walk around? Hello, does anyone wants to get married to me, please? Because everybody is stressing me. Because obviously that's not something I'm gonna do, and nobody's gonna do this, hopefully. But it's just a very crazy topic, and I found it interesting, to have like this, to hear this, because it's a completely different take from how I grew up. Like I don't like to hear it when these older women tell me this, but I'm used to hearing it, like from aunties, uncles, family members, like parents and all of that. But still, like, I feel like this was a valid advice, and I don't understand, like, if you don't, this is an advice that she gave, and you don't have to take it if you don't want to, but it's still a valid conversation to be had. Same like, she is 40 and she froze her ex with 34, she said, and she had some failed relationships, and now she doesn't not want to wait any longer to become a mom. She wants to embark on that journey on herself by going to the sperm bank, getting a donor, and starting the fertility treatments. And she spoke on the fact that it costs a lot of money, and not everybody with like an average income can afford this whole process, because freezing eggs for 6 years, you're still paying for it. You pay for the maintenance, then you do the fertility things, like you getting the shots, and like sometimes you do have to do it multiple times, because the first time didn't really work, the second time didn't really work. Like, people really go through stuff, it's hormonal changes, physical changes, mental changes, and it's hard to do this on her own. I commend her for willing to take on this challenge, and to do this on her own. It's actually very, very commendable. For me, I would never do it, because it's totally not in in my religious belief, and secondly, even if it was not because of religion, I'm the type of person, I prefer to have a child, give birth to a child, and if I, for whatever reason, should not be able to do so, then I would rather adopt a child. And I know adoption is not easy for people, like, it's a very tough process. I feel it should be tough, because it's about a child being taken in by people, but sometimes it's really impossibly tough. So I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I've never really did something, neither did I witness somebody go through this adoption process closely. I know people who adopted, but I've never really was there when they were on that journey. And I feel like this is a conversation that needs to be had more often as well. I really hope that Ebony would kind of like document her journey a little bit, so that we can be part of it. Not because we're nosy, it's more because of like educational. I feel more women should know about this, should learn about this, because and maybe I'm totally wrong. If you guys know better, please do correct me. I feel like it's just not spoken enough about. Yes, it's talked about, but not like in details where somebody just really like shared their journey. Or maybe I'm totally living behind the moon and I don't know. I've never heard anything or never witnessed anything of this. Yeah. And again, if an advice is not for you, I understand you get triggered, because we're all humans. We all just like have feelings. And I feel like don't allow these triggers to get the best of you, because if an advice is not for you, it's just not for you. I just think in this case, and that's always what I say to my 26-year-old niece: if somebody older gives you an advice, obviously depending on who that somebody is, take it. Don't think that you know better. Don't think that you know exactly what you want or what you need, what you want, because what we need is not always what we want is not always what we need. And an older person who's more seasoned and more experienced will hopefully most of the time give you the right advice. Now, again, it depends on who that is. Other than that, that's all I have, really and truly. That's all I have for this week. Well, I'm glad to be back, and I see you guys next week with a brand new episode. And please make sure to subscribe, like, comment, and share on YouTube. Please follow me on social media. Oh my gosh, I sound so desperate. I sound desperate. Please follow me on social media. It would be nice if you would follow me. I don't know. Just like do the whole social media thing, do the whole online thing. And that's all I have to say.